Here comes another one. Nope. Oh no, he missed it. Spoon day, boys. Dixie in the house. Anyone, he threw my minnow off. What is up, fishing coach family? We're gonna do a catch 15/20 today. Uncut, I just said it. I haven't done a catch 15 in a while, but we're actually changing it. We're doing a catch 20. Now I'm on a lake that I have a lot of history with and means a lot, but I've not been on it once this year. It's far away from my house where I live at now in Hot Spring. I have goals today. I want to do an uncut and try to catch 20 pounds. Right, guys, right now it's July, end of July. It's hot. Water temperature's like showing 87 right now. It's been 100 degrees, and I really don't know what to do. Now, this lake is a flood control lake, and it was high in June. It's been fluctuating. We're going to try to see if these fish are offshore and if it maybe hadn't been too hot to where. So I want to catch some fish, but another goal is I want to find some fish in some new areas. Like, I have history. I don't want to just run spots today. And one thing, just so y'all guys know, like, let me show y'all something real quick. I'm in the Icon. I'm not in my boat. Okay, I'm in the Icon. Look, there's no map. I have no maps and no GPS spots. Now, like, I just idled over a rock pile that I caught my first hover rig fish with. That was like a 6-pounder, like, back there. But, like, I know where some stuff is, but I'm just sharing, like, I don't have my stuff. And I'm going to eliminate half of this lake because half of it has a lot of timber. And I don't want to scratch the boat up. I don't want to scratch the Icon up. So we have a couple things. Now, looking at that deep dive app too, looking at the wind effects feature right here. It's not been windy. Y'all know, y'all guys know I love the app. It's not been windy. I was checking that. The big thing though I was checking just to show you guys how it has the stream flow feature, so you can check the current when the current is going. The water levels is all on right there, and you can use this for any of the lakes that's on here, and it will pull the data from where it actually comes. So you don't got to keep going, download all the apps, and so it's all right there. So, guys, I don't know what we're gonna catch one today. Spoon, big worm, big crankbait, hair jig, maybe a Nico rig. I don't know. Right off the bat, dadgummit, he didn't eat it all the way. He ate it like he never saw it. Yeah, we come to this lake for this. He threw it off. It's a spotted bass. Spotted bass even exist in this lake? Oh, I'm kidding. So we're about to go through how I just broke one of the #1 rules of finding and catching bass. So guys, I was gonna do an uncut video and show just me fishing and going uncut. But guys, it was hot. Had cameras go get hot, mess up my forward facing footage. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it to where I talk, show my maps, everything I'm thinking about, and showing fishing footage. If you like this type of video, leave me comments down below. Or if you'd just rather be a 50-minute uncut, 3 hours uncut, so I'm gonna do both. But I really think some of you guys might like this type of video. So I did accomplish the challenge. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I broke the catch. I got my goal of 20 pounds, but it wasn't easy. And we're gonna go through my whole process with it. And go right back over that rock. Here comes another one. Nope. We found the spotted bass of this lake. I mean, what are we doing? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know there's spotted bass in here. You'll be recording this. We found these spotted bass. There's like 5 of them that just came up there. Like, we never see this thing. Look at this dude. Look at this tank. You're getting weighed. A 2-pound. Dadgummit, dude. You're locked in it too. So I first started out on what I call one of the community holes of the lake. It was it was actually a Thursday. There was only 2 or 3 bass boats out there. I've not been on the lake all year, so I wanted to go check out one of the community holes that I know fish get on and just see how they're acting. I was expecting them to be a middle of the day bite. I was. Now I had to leave by 12:30. I couldn't fish all day. I really wish I could have, but I only had a short amount of time. So as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to find fish in a new location, and I did. And I caught them 2 different ways actually. And one of the ways is not what I expected on doing. So I checked one of the community holes, and I didn't really see what I wanted to see. I saw a lot of bait, a lot of trash fish, and that's one thing this lake has. But when I started seeing all the trash fish in the bait, I could distinguish bass, and pretty good. And that was just due to me being on the water so much, using forward-facing sonar to catch them. I'm talking a lot, so I felt pretty confident of distinguishing. But I do not like catching singles. Okay, I don't in the summer. I like throwing at singles. I rather find groups. As I'm out here on this community hole though, there's rock out there and brush. Well, one thing I got on was pulling fish off of rock that you could not see. And I caught a lot of fish. Only weighed one that was a good one. We're just gonna catch babies today. I would have done this, I would have stayed at Watchtower Hamilton. I didn't spend too long there, about 30-40 minutes. Then I went to one of my other flat ledges that I've had a lot of success with also. Same thing there, bait was everywhere. Fish was everywhere. I didn't see just a group of bass. I might have pulled some off a piece of cover like a stump, 5 or 6, or I might have saw some in brush. But man, there's just too much fish and too much bait on the screen, and I just didn't really like it. And I started feeling like, hey, if I get around fish, then I better mimic this bait fish perfectly right, or they just got to eat. Either way. And that's one problem I know at times when you get around a lot of bait, that you get around fish that are so keyed on it. And I know when people go on the water lessons like Hamilton, Washita's, and we're going to get into, Hamilton has a lot of bait right now. And there's times we're catching around the bait. And there's times it's hard to catch around the bait because of either they're getting their chicken nuggets, or we got to get the bait so right to the minnows and the top waters that we are throwing. So this lake that I'm on is a highland reservoir, but it does set up like a lowland reservoir. It fishes in a way. So if you're over here curious, like on the lake type, this, that, the watercolor is stained, water temperature is 88 to 90 degrees, and it's hot. I mean, it is hot, guys. So then I decided to move locations, and I was like, hey, I need to go find fish where they're less pressured and maybe find that juice, find that spot I've never caught them at, which was my goal of this day. And so then I went up to the mid section of this, the mid section is like kind of mid upper, the river section. There's a lot of timber, and that's one thing too, me being in the Icon, right? I don't want to scratch this boat up. If I was in my personal boat, which is my 2007 Bass Cat, I would have went out there and banged it up and not care. But this boat not being mine, it's a demo, I don't want to go scratch it up. So I had to be very careful in the timber, but I wanted to find fish in the timber. So then what I first did was look at a major creek, major pocket that I know they spawn in. And as I've shared before, when you're trying to find fish on the offshore, you got to look at where they're going to spawn and where you know fish are going to spawn. In this lake, big population of fish for the size of it, and they get pressured. So I picked a creek, and I started at the mouth of it, where there's 2 points, okay, which are the first structures that they can go to. And then I just kind of went out there towards where the river channel went up against these. And what I found was gar. I found a gar hole. Fish everywhere, but they're gar. And I'm like, all right, there ain't no bass here. So then I kept going down the way, looking, and then I found one of those mega schools. And when I first found them, I was like, wow, okay, what's this? And I'm seeing them, okay? And I'm like, no way, these are all 4 to 6 pounders. And they were. And I was going to be smart about it. I didn't want to mess them up. Those are bass. big one. I knew that was a big one. I knew those were all bass. I knew those were all bass, man. They're acting like it's 90-degree water and they don't want to eat. This is 8-pound braid, 8-pound fluoro, 5-6-pound fish. Stay hooked up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Big old skinny one, he threw my minnow off. So then I went down the lake, back to the lower end, and I just picked a channel swing point. And it's a point that I've not really caught them at good before. I might have caught them there in the winter, up on the bank, on a rattle trap, but I've not just caught them there off the bank. But one thing that I did that I noticed, here you go, this is where the rule's gonna get broke. Where I noticed on where the one group of fish was, there was not much bait fish in the area. Very little. Every other spot I have been to has had bait fish. Bait fish everywhere, your screen's cluttered up and it's all everywhere. And there's always this rule to find bass, you gotta find the bait. And that's true in a lot of scenarios. But what we also forget is when there is too much bait in an area, it's hard to compete with the bass. So, because the bass are gonna be so keyed on them. But this is a lake, and like those Texas lakes, my dude in Texas know, there's bait fish all in y'all's lakes, all in it. Okay, Lake Fork, I had a trip at Lake Fork last fall where we found a area, a flat in a point without bait, and we found bass and crushed them. No bait fish in the area. So I'm remembering all this. So I saw this group of fish, not much bait in the area at all, I didn't see any. I went to the next point, I graphed, didn't see any bait. I'm like, sweet. I dropped the trolling motor. He weighed 410. Like I say, he's a skinny one. I'm gonna let him go. Don't tell your buddies I'm back. Okay. I saw these fish suspended off of the point. And I'm like, these are bass. They're 5 foot under the surface. They're out there off the point. The creek channel's like right there. Like the main channel's right there. And I'm like, these are bass. First one I throw it, I catch a 410. Then the next one, I lose. Like the next fish I throw it comes up there, hits it, jumps, throws me out of the water. It's like a 5 to 6 pounder. And then I'm like, wow, here we are. There's no bait fish, and there's fish out here floating. And I didn't want to come to this lake to throw a minnow. I'm just going to tell y'all that. Like, I didn't want to come there. I wanted to be spoon, hair jig, crankbait, big worm. I was really expecting a big worm to be the player. Now, I didn't get a bite on the big worm all day. So then all of a sudden, I caught the 410. I catch a white. I throw it a couple that weren't bass because you can see how they're acting. Then I catch 2 3-pounders. All right. And then I was like, wait. About like 20 minutes all this happened. Then I was like, wait, I need to go back to this other school. Dixie in the house. Dixie in the house. Sweet Dixie. So then we go back to the big school. And they just ate the minnow for me off that point out there. Now those were singles, which you guys know I don't like throwing at singles, but they were eating. And those fish just never see a minnow down there, where on that lake. I really don't think they do. And they were just eating. So I was like, hey, I want to throw this minnow with this group of fish. I throw a minnow. I brought like 20 to the boat. Like they were following it, you know, like some of you guys have seen, some not have seen, you know, and they didn't eat it. And I'm like, crap, I just screwed that up. So then I was like, all right, if I'm gonna get in the fire, I'm gonna live and die by my flutter spoon. And then my next 2 casts with the flutter spoon, it happens. Oh no, he missed it. The giant. Yep. Spoon day, boys. It's a spoon day. Spooner, spooner. After the second fish, I then tried to get, a little crazy and throw the hair jig at him. And I threw the hair jig, lost one. I did. Hooked it up, fought, got off. And then they were all kind of messed up at that point. And I threw the spoon a little bit more. They just weren't acting the same because they just saw Johnny and Greg, or Bill and Sam, whatever their names are. They just saw them get jacked. And they don't want to get jacked either. Okay, fish are smart. I'm telling you, they're smarter than what we give them credit for. And so then I left these fish. And my whole deal was I'm going to go try to find more like it. I just failed. I didn't. So my story from this trip is, guys, sometimes finding the bait is not the answer. And I've experienced this at Lake Ouachita, my Highland Reservoir from this last year. I had a creek on the lake from the end of fall through the spring. I never saw bait fish in it. But these fat bass were positioned on structure, which was points or high spots, and the cover was timber typically. There's grass there, but they're set up in timber. These fish never saw bait fish in there. I was in there a lot, and I never saw a ball of bait. The whole point of this lesson of this day is don't get always caught up. Every lake's different, okay? Every lake is different. Yeah, it's great to find bait, but guys, there are still fish around that don't just eat bait fish. And like this one group of fish here, there's bait fish nearby, and that's one of the biggest keys is the bait can be nearby, but it don't got to be right there. And I've heard other guys talk about it. When you're fishing and you're around so much bait, and like that live scope screen is just cluttered with bait, fish, dude, it's hard to distinguish them, and it's hard just to be efficient. And that's what this day was my lesson for you guys. As I broke the 20 pounds in 5 hours on a lake I've not been to once this year, and yeah, I have history on it, man. It's been good to me, special place to me. I've guided on it. My first guide trip ever was there, and we had like 28 for 5. And then that guy still will text me and be like, that day was incredible. And it was just, I've had some wonderful trips on it. I had a kid last year catch his personal best out there. And I'm not going to say the kid's name because his dad's a professional angler. but this lake is special. But what I'm getting to is my guys in Texas. And there's other places where small lakes you have a lot of bait, or big lakes. But finding the bait fish is not always the answer, okay? And typically when I find fish on structure cover and there's no bait fish around, they are a lot easier to catch. Hey, just real quick, just going through what I caught my fish on the day, and I had like 4 different minnows on the deck. Okay, I had an 1/8, 3/16, I had a 1/4, and then I had a big minnow. I had a 1/8 strut head with the big minnow on. But the one that caught him today, this day was just an 1/8 range roller head with a freeloader. I was using 8-pound leader to 8-pound braid. This is I was throwing it on the 7.4 NGX cork, okay, medium light fast. Now this is the 7.1. My 7.4, I'm not going to show you, went crazy. Like I go out and cast, my braid went nuts, and I had some crazy backlash with the spinning rod. You guys, it happens at times, and it happened to me. And anyway, so I ended up just what was ever on here, I took it off and put that 1/8 on there. I really like that cork rod, man. That rod's awesome. I love the NGX. I love the rake. I have a rake down here. Y'all seen me, I've thrown them all. And then the big player too. So the minnow that day caught like 14 or 15 fish, okay, throughout the day. It had 3 of my 5, the 2 3-pounders, and that 410 I think is what it had. I really thought that 410 was like a 6-pounder until it came up. It was just skinny. Them fish are just skinny. It's hot. There's a lot of skinny fish down there. One of my 4s I caught. Another 5-pounder. The 5-pounder was thick. Okay, so the 2 The other two that we're in were on the flutter spin right here, Dixie Jet Talon. I'm throwing it, guys, on the NGX 710, medium, heavy, moderate, fast. It's their big glide bait rod. I've been throwing this on it for about a year and a half now, and I love it. And this year I've caught a lot of fish and got to experience it. So this 710, I like the 710 because I can get a longer cast with it. This action of this rod has been big on my hookups, okay? Now, your spoon guys are always going to say a 7.6, medium heavy, or this, that, you know. I mean, I've watched them all, but from my experience, so I like the 710. Also go straight fluorocarbon. I have a lot of reasons for it. I know some guys will go braid to fluoro. That's cool, you do that. From my experience, I ain't doing it. I'm gonna go 20-pound fluorocarbon or 25, you know, but I typically go 20, and I don't like the braid to fluoro. That's more knots. And that's more knots, you're jacking fish, and I know it's like the spinning rod, you go braid to fluoro, but you're not jacking them, you're just letting them eat it and kind of set the hook on them. Dude, this dude is just a different game. And so I've had people ask, why don't you go braid to fluoro? This guy does it. I'm like, hey, from my experience, once again, they're out there in Africa shooting exotic animals. I'm fishing, and I'm getting on the water experience from this guy, okay? So that is me. I like to say the level, NGX 710, medium, heavy, moderate, fast. Once again, I love this long rod. If you throw big glide baits, just think of this as a glide bait. Now let's get into the Faith Juice set. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Faith Juice part of the episode where I share a motivation piece, scripture, or something that's on my heart. And I want to share a story, okay? A story of me back in high school, and try to have some meaning to it for you guys. I have something, kind of an idea, okay, for it. And so let's go. So I'm 16 years old. I'm starting my third game at quarterback. I'm a junior at this point, Bryant High School, and my first two games were rough, okay? We played in some crazy weather, and we won, but like, we just didn't throw the ball well. And Bryant was known for throwing it, spread, and guys, we had a talented running back, and it came out. We had a talented offensive line. I wasn't supposed to be the quarterback this year. I was supposed to be corner, receiver, role player. Our quarterback tore his ACL in the spring game, and then I became the guy, all right? And I was an athlete, not like big-time athlete, but I was an athlete for what we had. Little, but let's go to the game. So that's just leading up to where we're at. So we've not thrown the ball well. And like I said, the first game we actually played in like 30, 40 mile per hour winds. It was called the Katrina Bowl. Anyway, like, our coaches did an excellent job because they were like, Jimmy can't throw in this. Let's run the football. While the other team, Benton, their coaches were dumb. And yeah, I know some of them coaches. Y'all tried to throw the ball in it and couldn't. So shout out to my coaches because some of y'all are going to probably watch this. But let's go to the third game. So we're playing Texarkana. They just came off a state championship. I think the year before they had maybe the running back just graduated. Dennis Johnson was his name, if you guys know. But dude, they were talented. I even talked to one of the coaches from this team a couple months ago, as he's now coaching at Nashville, where I was at previously, okay? And I'm still ties with the town of Nashville, Arkansas. So here we are. And we came out the gate, scored first drive. And it's a pretty good game. Now I'm getting pounded. Our talented offensive line could not handle this one defensive end that this team had. He was a Division I football player. He was a man amongst boys. Definitely amongst little baby 16-year-old Jimmy, okay? So he is hitting me. I mean, we don't have time to throw. And, you know, we're not running the ball as well either, okay? Well, we're driving it before half. We're up, I think, 7-0 before halftime. Defense is playing great. Their offense is struggling. And we're driving, making a good drive. And like maybe a second four come, we do a little play fake, and I get nailed. We just missed. I don't know what happened. We missed the defensive end, and he took me out. Like, you know, just one of those wham. And here's old baby Jimmy, 150 pounds on a good day, and dude, like, I'm on the ground hurting, and all I hear is one of my receivers going to the offensive lineman and telling them, you guys got to do a better job. Do your job. Jimmy keeps getting killed. And guys, I get up. Forget that I'm hurt. I get up and I grab him. And I said I said cuss words. I did. I ripped him. And the whole deal was, you don't talk to the offensive line. That's me. You worry about you and your job. And I was defending my O-line. And I said stuff that was over the line. Like, it wasn't just, I said stuff over the line. The referee throws a flag. Okay? Y'all get ready. The referee throws a flag on the quarterback ripping his own receiver. Okay? I wasn't talking to Texarkana. Like, there was no other people around. Or maybe, I don't know if he threw the flag or not, but all I know is next thing you know, I'm off the field. And the head football coach is telling me, hey, they're going to throw you out if you say anything else. And I was like, Coach, I was talking to my own dude. I wasn't even talking to them. He goes, oh, I know, but they didn't like it. They're going to throw you out. So they took me out of the game, and we're in a drive. Okay? All of a sudden, the new quarterback goes in, who's a sophomore. He wasn't ready. Next thing you know, third down, don't get it done. We punt. And I saw, as in me, being selfish and saying things I shouldn't. I was defending my O-line, but I shouldn't have crossed the line. I owned up. Like, I messed up, and I messed up for the team. So I don't complain or say anything to anybody, and people are just like, what's going on? Why did Jimmy get pulled? And so as I'm walking to the locker room, I go to the head coach, and I was like, hey, or the OC, one of those guys. I'm 6, I forgot, man. I had some concussions, so I forget everything clearly. Coach Callie, I can remember. But I went to the offensive coordinator, head coach, one of the two, and said, hey, I messed up. I'm sorry. I won't do that again. I'm better than that. Y'all do what y'all need to do. And so I owned up to my mistake at an early age. Okay? And then, they came to me and said, hey, Jimmy, you're going to, I think the next quarterback, they said he got 2 drives. Hey, he's going to get 2 drives. And I'm like, crap, here we go. I'm about to get Wally pipped. Right? About to get Wally pipped. Y'all know Wally Pitt, Lou Gregg's story. Here I am. And so I just said, yes, sir, and owned up to it. I didn't pout. I just was like, it's me. I shouldn't have done it. Coaches got to do what they got to do. Well, our 2 drives went 3 and out. Defense is still playing a heck of a game. And then my first drive back in, we drive, score, get a touchdown. And I had one big touchdown pass. That was sweet, but whatever. But more of the story is own up to your mistakes. And when you even own up to your mistakes and tell your bosses or your peers or people above you, they see it and respect you. And in my instance, I had another chance. Sometimes you might not get other chances. But that's the whole deal is I saw this at an early age. I'm looking just back and just thinking of life and how, like, man, that could have went a different direction or a different path. Like, that kid could have went 2 drives and rolled and I'm done. But it didn't work out that way, and for some reason. But part of it is me just me sharing to you guys. I owned up either way. And for you, on your mistakes, if it's with your father to your son, your wife, co-workers, boss, just don't be afraid to own up. Just tell me you messed up, and everything will go smooth. Everything just works better in the office, the life, the house. So own up to your mistakes. Appreciate you guys. Let me know what you think about the Face You segment. If you want more stories like this, I got a bunch. We'll figure it out.